I'm watching these bowl games, specifically teams like Iowa and Minnesota, and you know where I'm headed. One score losses all over the place. I consider them all 9 1-score losses. The Ohio State game, technically a 2-score loss, but the game wasn't decided until 90 seconds left. And anybody with a brain watching the game sees that the game was really close. Nebraska's taken a top 4 team that close. And it was just crazy. The other thing the one thing that hit me is I'm watching Iowa, Kentucky, and I'm watching Wan'Dale Robinson go crazy. And he had a ridiculous year, as you well know. 104 catches, caught 10 for $170 in that game. And if he's not on the field, Kentucky doesn't win. And I'm just looking at that thinking, and I know that receiver wasn't necessarily Nebraska's issue, but certainly they didn't have anybody like him. And losing all those 1-score games, you just wonder if he's there, how many games would if he made a difference in a 1-score game?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think he's going to make a lot of differences. I know Nebraska wanted to use him as that running back wide receiver hybrid like they did his first year. He didn't want to do that. I understand it. Who knows? He projects maybe at the next level to be a guy that's the kind of that playmaker, which you're seeing like a guy like Debo Samuel projecting to now. But he wanted to develop as a receiver to get his NFL draft grade higher and be a true receiver to NFL scouts. And, you watch him this year, like you said, I watched him plenty of games. Man, did he look like a receiver? Like in Nebraska, he looked like a playmaker, but you look at him at Kentucky and you're like, he's going against Riley Moss at Iowa, one of the best corners in the country, and he is just making him look bad. Even when Riley Moss is all over him, he's still making catches. So, yeah, I mean, that play at the end of the game where he got down to the one, I don't know how he makes like 7 people miss, but he did. And, yeah, he's going to be a great talent in the NFL. And, yeah, it really does make you wonder as a Nebraska fan. I think Nebraska people really didn't start tweeting about Wan'Dale and how he was doing this year until they watched that bowl game. They watched that bowl game, and all of a sudden I saw all the tweets that were like, man, if we had Wan'Dale, I'm like, should have been watching all year. Yeah, he was that good all year.
Yeah, the dude caught 100 passes in the SEC. He was doing it all year. Not a lot of guys do that. And then again, back to the 1-score losses, and certainly Wan'Dale Robinson is off and running and maybe in the NFL next year. He's got to make that decision known here soon. But looking at the quarterback position, because that's why we're here, and the big news, of course, as most of you are filtering in, Casey Thompson, Texas quarterback, led the Big 12 in touchdown passes this past season, has transferred to Nebraska. Is that I try not to criticize college players as much as we got to evaluate them at the same time. And Adrian Martinez, I give the guy tons of credit for playing through injuries constantly. And he was a gamer and talented guy in many respects, tended to make the turnover at the wrong time, and not the most accurate passer in the world. Now, college quarterbacks are going to miss throws. I say this all the time that, Zach, that we get on these chats and with all the comments that come in during the chat and to the channel, I think too many college football fans are watching Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady on Sunday and thinking quarterbacks should throw like that. And we need to give these guys a bit of some leeway. They're going to miss some throws on Saturday, but I think a Casey Thompson is going to upgrade the position, not significantly, but it's going to be noticeable.
Yeah, and as to what you're saying, yeah, props to Adrian Martinez. I mean, the dude, as many people know, he battled more than anyone. Injuries, through everything. That guy, and, through a lack of help sometimes. It was just him out there, but he did make that big mistake. I got my Adrian Martinez jersey in the mail on November, and then he transferred. It's okay. I'll still wear it around. I think he represented the University of Nebraska football program perfectly with how he battled. He just couldn't produce the wins in the end. I mean, whether it was his fault or not, they still couldn't win, and he was still the starting quarterback. But, yeah, huge props to that guy. But I think Casey Thompson, it's definitely going to be – the talent's going to be there just like it was with Martinez. And I think a lot of people are going to look at his stats on ESPN or wherever they look and be like, oh, well, he's a pocket passer. He's not a really, runner. He only ran for 159 yards. Like, Texas didn't want to run their quarterbacks. It's kind of their system with Bijan Robinson. They'd rather just hand it off to that guy because he can do more than the quarterbacks can anyway. So, but I think the athleticism is higher than Martinez. I think when you institute this guy in an option type of offense like Nebraska has, you're going to see how athletic he is at 6'1", 190. But yeah, I mean, the accuracy issues are still going to be there. Like you said, they're not NFL quarterbacks, but the arm talent is going to be much higher than Martinez as far as arm strength. He's going to have that. His anticipation is there. Now, sometimes his anticipation is wrong, and there's a guy that's baiting him into throwing it and picks it. But that anticipation is something that makes you an elite college quarterback. I mean, you have to have it because you can't just throw to open receivers. You have to throw receivers open. And I think that's something that they like in Casey Thompson. So I love it from an athlete standpoint and from a quarterback standpoint. Just the development over the offseason is going to be crucial, but the talent's definitely there.